massive risk, and I don't advise doing that whatsoever. It's just really frustrating for me. And then we're going to turn this room into a murder room. I work for him, yeah, this guy. It's lethal, really. Let's go and do that. Yo, morning, welcome to the channel. So while that is sorting, I need a brew. Yesterday I was very frustrated because I forgot my actual cup, which was very stupid of me. So we are back at the bungalow makeover, where I'm going to be getting on with finishing the first fix electrics, but I'm actually going to be getting on with some first fix plumbing, getting all those sorted so the lads can crack on getting on with all of the plastering and all the rest of it. So while that's making, make sure you hit the subscribe button in the corner, join this electrical community, and yeah, let's get cracking. Right, so jet boiler is now boiled, funnily enough, and I'm just gonna get my old Yorkshire. Oh, look at the steam, look at that. Ooh, beautiful. Right, while that is mashing, because we all know you got to sort this out properly. You can't just be an absolute heathen with all these things. So leave that to cool down out there. So yesterday I was in a little bit of a bad mood, and sometimes part of it, being completely honest, part of it is just having too many people in the site at the same time, all, you know, crying out for the same space and all the rest of it, and it's just really frustrating for me. I find it really hard work to focus on what I do. That's why quite a lot of the time I end up, like I say, I'm working on my own a lot, and I put my headphones in and I can just switch off from all that. And I don't know whether that's part of like the ADHD thing, because I don't like to be distracted too much, but also I spent most of the day in the loft, which was not that appealing. So if you watch the previous video, you'll understand why. We also made the decision here to bring the rewire forward, because the more I was lifting up the covers, I keep saying covers, more I was lifting, like I'm going to bed up there, more I was lifting up the insulation, the worse the picture was becoming of how bad the actual electrical installation was. Which when I go inside, I will show you anyway, some of the stuff if you hadn't seen that previous video. A lot of cable on show, a lot of exposed copper on show, and I'd like to say it's from like rodent damage, but it's not. It's actually from poor DIY electrical perhaps, or poor, dare I say, actually Spark is doing really, really poor work. So yeah, it wasn't great. So it is what it is, and we're obviously, today will be a better day. I've got Lewis with me at the minute. I think Sean is due to be here a bit later on, to be getting on with a load of stuff. So yes, I just first and foremost wanted to apologise for the last video, because I was very, very grumpy, and I was just in a little bit of a bad mood. But yeah, today's a new day and we are back on track, and I promise it'll be much better. So, especially once I've had my tea. Okay, so we're going to give you a little rundown if you've missed the previous video. So we have got pretty much the first fix done for all the electrics. So we've killed off obviously all this room, and we're putting a new ring main in, a new range cooker supply, and a new lighting circuit in. So as you can tell on here, these walls are all going to be dot and dabbed. So we don't have to do the chasing on this one, but where Lou is over there, that wall is actually all going to be skimmed out, not dot and dabbed. So hence the reason why the chases have happened. So the chases are all the way down. There's a socket behind that ladder there, comes down and across to this point, which is obviously going to be bringing those cables through into the back of the unit, because the dishwasher is going there. It's only a little 450 dishwasher as well, so we don't fit that many of those. And then on this wall is what I'm going to be doing in a moment. We're going to be getting on with those radiator pipes now, because these ones need to be get rid of and chopped into the wall. And if you see down here, they actually go through into the living room. But that radiator we're going to cap off and do, because that's in another phase when we do the living room, because we've done the back of the house and now we're working our way to the front. So on here, we've got all our light points coming to here. So the lads have chopped in a deeper back box to go in. So in there, we've got the downlights for this room, downlights for that room, undercab lights over here, and then we've got a loop feed going out to what's going to be like, we're going to put another light in just in here in the hallway, because it's quite a decent hallway and there's only one light, and the client was saying we could do with another light this end, so that's all ready to go. So we're going to jump into that loft in a minute, but I need to start draining down the heating system, so let's go and do that. Right, first things first, probably going to need to drain down the old system. Let's go and do that. So for here, we're just going to put it on down the drain down hose, make sure put the clamp on, because obviously people coming in and out, you don't want to be knocking that. Alright, need to go and get a bucket out for that. And there we have it, it's all starting to drain out. So we'll go and open up all the valves in the radiator and yeah, get it all out, and then we can crack on with the job. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to show you a little bit of the loft stuff. So here's a classic example. As we're moving all the insulation back out the way, you're discovering stuff like this. So this was all left exactly like this. This was all live. We've got exposed ends. As soon as you touch this, we've got more and more exposed copper coming on. Yeah, it's just so dangerous. And then as we're moving around to this way, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. I mean, if you can see, it's just awful. We had other cables in there that were left like that. I mean, we just had to make the decision to bring the rewire forward. It's just lethal. Obviously, it's an elderly person who owns this house, and they're already booked in. Don't get me wrong; it's not like we're forced to rewire. It's more of they're already booked in to do the rewire, but we're just going to have to make it happen now, because it's lethal, really, absolutely lethal. So, on that note, we've got to sort out the plumbing now. That's what we've got to do. So then the lads can crack on and make this house as comfortable as possible. So if you see all the way down there, I'm going to have to crawl down there, because where those pipes are, I need to cap those off. There's two that are just around about there. They're the old hot and cold, so we need to cap those off as well. So Lewis is just going around and draining down the rest of the system for me, which is fantastic, because this, I do not enjoy being in the loft at all, but we are by the by, it is where we are. So what I'm going to do is where those pipes come down, I'm just going to cap those off and bring the new ones up, I'll leave them high into the air, and then we'll join them up after, once we're all ready for it. It's all the radiators on, all the second fix and everything like that. It's just a case of getting my pipes in so they can all be covered, and we can just forget about this for a minute. Which, hopefully, did have Aaron here yesterday, who is an actual plumber, you know, rather than a pretend one like me. Although I hate doing plumbing. There, said it. Hate doing plumbing. It's not something that I actually enjoy doing in the slightest, and we are going to be looking for me to be stopping doing that, because you should never be doing something that you don't enjoy. This is something I teach my kids as well, so don't ever do something you don't enjoy, because that is stupid and you don't put your full passion into it. But until that point where we've got our own dedicated plumber as such on the firm, looks like I'm doing it. So we're now sorting the pipes out. So we've got on here, so what Clay's just doing right now. So you've got to cover the actual pipe themselves, because you don't want that copper in direct contact with like the bonding coat. So the idea is that we're going to put the pipe in like so. So pipe's going to be in sort of like there, maybe a little bit lower. And then what we're going to do is at the top, we're just going to have them poking into the loft space up there. So we're going to have them poking in so we can tie on at a later date. So Shawnee is here. So Shawnee has got on with, you've just capped off the hot and cold feeds, which were up there. And now, as you can see, there's a mass of people in here, all taking over and
pushing you on to push you out so we can crack on.
Yeah, how rude, but that is the truth. So what I'm doing now is we've got another radiator to go on over there. So I'm going to make another essential like hockey sticks, which we're going to do right now. So we're going to be getting on with sorting this lot out. They're going to be on to here. I'm going to make another set of those that will then go on into that wall, basically where Sean is, so that chase there. We're going to do the same thing. over there. So with all soldering, you've got to make sure that everything is nice and clean. So these pipes got left outside on another job. That's why they're a little bit more discoloured. So clean them up. Then we're going to use some flux round on the pipe. Doesn't have to be pretty because you're never going to see any of this. Got a 90 elbow in. Oh God, that is a lot on there. That is a lot. So we need to sort that out. You don't want that much, I mean that is mental. I'll get that in. And then what I'm going to do is going to lean that down there. Obviously heat it up, you'll see it start changing colour slightly. And that is your time to get your solder in. And that's it. Job's good. In. Little wipe off with a damp cloth. Then we can retape that and do the process again for the other one. Okay, so you join me in the loft. The lads are getting on with boarding the ceilings right now, and we've got a little bit of a plan because I need to just get out from this plumbing stuff and get back to the real job of being a Sparky. So my plan is we're going to interrupt the supply for the flow and return for the radiators. So we've got the 2 pipes for the radiator at the back wall coming up there, and down that end we've got the same. Now this pipe here, these pipes, so these 2 are my flow and return. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some full lever valves on for both of these, and then after that I can then tee off to go for those ones and the pipes that are down there, and now also the living room, which is going to be off that way. And the reason behind doing that is because the rest of the installation in the house doesn't have to be interrupted at a later date, because this house has been notoriously awkward in actually getting right and getting the flow sorted. But we've just had a meeting with the customer, which is absolutely brilliant because they are just around the corner, and they have now said yes, they agree with us, and just crack on with the rewire because it is lethal and we need to sort this out. So just to spin you around here, just in this one area alone, look how much of a mess that is, and it just needs sorting. So we're going to get these plumbing bits sorted now, and then we can hopefully make a bit of a plan, and I'll go through the house with you and explain how we're going to do the rewire, and what's is a fairly basic one, which is great, and also just get sheeting up and get stuff done. Okay, so valves are all on now, and it's time to start filling the rest of the heating system up and get a bit of warmth back in the house, which would be nice, wouldn't it? So let's get that drain down hose off. Okay, so now setting out for the rewire. So we now need to move stuff out of the way. I've been and gone and got all of the materials now. So I've got all the parts, which we'll go through in a minute, and we're now going to start getting on with sheeting everything up and making it basically look like a crime scene. So we're going to get rid of everything that's going to be breakable, okay, and put it somewhere safe. We're now going to start sheeting everything up from the furniture wise, and then we'll have to get all the floors covered and stuff like that. Now the floors are all going to be replaced anyway, all the carpet's going to be replaced, but we will be putting some roll and stroll down in the high traffic areas. So all the parts, what we've got so far. So we've got a huge list in here ranging from downlights, so we've got 6-inch pendant sets, all the socket stuff, all the back boxes ready to chase out. So it means that we can just get absolutely cracking. Now they're having all of the BG Nexus range in brushed, because that is what they've got in the rest of the house down there. Now Shawnee and the boys are getting on with all the boarding, so they've done the ceilings already, and they've started to dot and dab all the walls where's needed. So there's another mix on there for that one. So I've ordered all the bits for all this lot in here. So now I'm off the dirty plumbing bits, which is a massive bonus because I don't enjoy it. And there you go, said it. it's out there for the world to know. I don't enjoy it. So in here, we've got the lounge to do now. So we're going to now start getting it all prepped and ready. So what we use for all the dust sheets is a really thin gauge DPM that we can get from, you know, your builders, merchants, things like that. We find that's the most cost-effective way of using the sheeting because once they're all got a little dust, because yes, we use dust extractors as you've seen, and you will see later on moving down the line in the videos to come. With the dust extractor, it is pretty good, I must admit, but there's always going to be some airborne dust, and by using the plastic sheet in this way, we can just roll it up and throw it away, because the soft cotton dust sheets that we've used in the past, and we still will use them, they tend to hold a lot more of the dust, and that goes on the furniture, and that is not great when you're sitting here relaxing in your freshly rewired home and you're covered in dust and grit. So we're going to set you up in time lapse, and then we're going to turn this room into a murder room. So we interrupt making the room a murder room because I've just been collared to come outside. Now I don't know what it is, haven't got a clue. I've just been told you might want to come outside and have a look. See what's happened there, Clay? It's a little time sensitive here, but I'm going to show you this. Yeah, that is supposed to be attached to the other end where Clay's holding. Clay, what's happened, mate?
Got tangled.
I mean, ask a stupid question, you get a stupid answer, innit, I suppose, but... Right, so that, not good. So I've got to sort that.
Yeah.
That's annoying, isn't it?
Yeah. Don't forget, you work for me, so...
That's right, yeah, I do. I work for him, yeah, this guy.
Yeah, don't let any of you forget it.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. That is correct. Right, okay, right, 2 seconds. Right, sorted that. In fairness, it happens, doesn't it? It's part of your learning. Let's get back on to the job in hand of sheeting this room up. So as I've already spoke to the client, they can be in the general vicinity, and these will all get patched up. So we're going to go 450 to the bottom there, and then that way we can mark them all out. So we've got 70. So we're going to go. So making sure we're good to that side. And now with the chaser, so we're going to bring the cables into the centre. So there's a line on the chaser. We'll use that mark there, and then that will give me a chase essentially like that all the way through. So we'll mark that all the way up. So we know we've just got to follow that line. And then in the future, if there's any problems with, you know, they want extra cables or they want to put a picture up, smack bang there, they know, because you're in the prescribed zone for your actual socket there, they know not to do it, because if they do, it's going to go bang. So in this room, it's pretty straightforward. We've got that one there. We've got where the TV is. We're going to put an extra double socket in over there. And then just by the fireplace, we've got a double socket and then a fuse spur, which then powers up the igniter for the actual fire. So we'll get those rattled out, and then we'll show you we're all ready to go. So I often get asked on how much gap do I have between like 2 accessories. So I've got obviously 2 here. So how much of the gap between each ones do I do? So you could potentially measure it so you don't have any plaster really in between, and you could try and get it so both the accessories latch over. Massive risk, and I don't advise doing that whatsoever, because all accessories are slightly different. So as things move on, there's always going to be a gap, and it's rubbish. So what I would say is if you mount your box on the wall, so if we do that up here for argument's sake, so we've got that there, what I tend to do is use the thickness of that, which is 25 mil, and then put a little mark on, and then you'll put your box that side. Might make a bit more sense if I show you down here. So we're marked out for our box like so. So if you've got your edge, leave it like that, put another mark on, which is there. That will give you your next gap. Okay, so then you'll draw around that one and off you go again. Now, the benefit of doing it this way is because there's enough room for the plasterers to get some plaster in. And if they're dot and dab in, it's a little bit more board there for them to actually work with. And you'll end up with a better finish. And in fairness, your socket edge will actually be sort of there and there. So you'll have a nice clean line going through the centre. I find that's the neatest way of doing it. That's what I've always done, and I just think it's a better job. Which brings me on to something. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please make sure you do. It helps the channel grow, build the community, and you can find out way more tips that we use every single day as an electrician on the job. So turn your notifications on and you'll get a little message to say every time we've uploaded another little hints or tips, whether that's on a short or it is actually in a full-length video. So make sure you do that. Links are in the corner, and yeah, better get cracking with this job. Okay, so all the room is now all marked out. So this one's done. So over here, where we've got the markings out for behind the telly, so they're all sorted. So we'll have the single chase all the way up and through into the ceiling. So that is all done. So this room's done. We've now just sorted out the dining room. So we've got a socket over here. So that's going to be done. Another socket down here and over here. So they're all marked out, all good to go. And also the bedroom as well. There's a bedroom that's just a small little box with just one double socket they want in there. And in here, this cupboard here used to be where the original fuse board was, then it got moved out into the landing. The gas meter is in here, and that's all being moved as well now. So that's going outside here, which is why Aaron was here yesterday in prep for that. So he's put in the new gas supply for it, basically. So then the gas meter's are going around there somewhere. So obviously I've got to get some bonding to that as well, which is brilliant. And then in here, in the porch, we've also got our marking out because there's a socket going in here as well for, you know, a little light or something like that. But then, obviously the board's going to be changed anyway, as we already previously mentioned. But in here, I've now been informed that this is coming out. I don't know why, she looks delicious. That's coming out, and this is where the washing machine's going to go. So this is going to need a supply in it as well. So which I presume that means that's going to go. So yeah, loads going on in fairness. So the more notes you can make when you're doing a rewire, when you speak to a customer, the better, because obviously you don't want to disturb them too much, you just need to get on with it. So one of the questions I've asked, because you never know with customers whether they're going to keep the centre lights or they want to put 6-inch pendants, because obviously they're going throughout the whole house. Most people will just go, I'll have 6-inch pendants up for now and get me back at a later date to fit up some more decorative ones, which is a lot nicer. But the client wants to keep these ones, so that needs to be noted down so they don't just get scrapped and chucked in the skip, because that would be very, very annoying. Then I'd have to replace them. So that is it. We're all done for today. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. And if you have and you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you do. Link is in the corner, and we shall see you on the next video when we're getting on with the actual chasing and start ripping out all of the dodgy electrics. Right, see you later.